Hi guys, happy Friday to you. I am here for the question of the week that I ask in my group. She finds freedom from habits and anxiety and self-loathing. I'll link to the group on this thread. So the question, there was two questions with similar theme this week. And essentially, Jackie and Kelly both asked, or they stated they're struggling with food. They say they're using it as a comfort blanket, and talked about the problems that they were facing with that. So it sounded to me in their questions that they were feeling helpless, maybe a bit out of control around food. So the first thing that I want to say actually is you're not alone. I'm sure that many people can resonate with feeling like they're out of control with their habit, whether that be food, whether that be alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, self-harm, shopping, that sort of thing. I know that when we feel that sense of there's something wrong with me, I've got this habit. Now, I talk a lot about this subject in my online membership group, my circle group, which is a monthly membership. And also, I'm going to be doing an 8-week program starting in February round anxiety and habits. So I don't want to do too much because I could talk about this all day. But essentially, what I want you to know is A, you're not alone, and B, you're believing that your habit of food, of feeling out of control with food, kind of says that there's something wrong with you, where to me, it's a sign of your health, your mental health, and a very healthy lower brain. So if you can think that because we are human beings, we feel all the emotions, we feel all the emotions. When we feel sad or angry or low, or just we kind of know that we're not feeling like ourselves, we intuitively know that we want to feel better. Now, that's not really a kind of conscious thought. It's a subconscious thought that's kind of behind, it's like coming from your lower brain. So when that happens, it brings up a thought: food, chocolate, crisps, like whatever your food thing is, okay? Now we follow that thought, so we eat. It's a craving or an urge. And then, so we get kind of momentary, short lived pleasure, hence the term comfort food. Although I've never heard anyone say to me, I comfort eat on lettuce or kale or carrots. I haven't heard that yet. It's usually chocolate, crisps, biscuits, cake. So something kind of sugary, floury, pastry like. Okay. So we get the thought, whatever it is we like to eat, and then we eat it. And so we momentarily feel better. There's a kind of calming of a busy mind, right? There's a calming down, a numbing, a quietness that happens. And then what we do is we go back into our head. Oh my God, I've got this problem. I'm putting on weight. I'm useless. I can't do this. I'll start tomorrow. And then we try and find all the things to help us. So we'll look at diets and we'll look at programs and we'll, I'm going to do my exercise tomorrow and like, we'll make a plan. So we put loads more on our mind, loads of things to do. We're giving ourselves loads of things to do. What happens then is, of course, we go into our mind. So we get a busy mind, an overwhelming mind. And guess what happens? Your lower brain then goes, we intuitively know you're not feeling right. So we're going to create the thought, food, because on some level, it knows, your lower brain knows that you felt better when you've eaten the food. Okay, or whatever your habit is, but we can talk about that when I'm sure we'll get other questions as the weeks go on. But essentially, it's coming from your healthy lower brain, which thinks that you need the food to survive. It's coming from a very basic survival instinct. So there's nothing wrong with you. It feels like you're out of control. And of course, if we're eating a lot, we do tend to put on weight. But what we then do is we make that mean something about us. We're not good enough because we put on weight. Rather than celebrating the fact that we're women and that we're curvy and that our weight goes up and down, because nothing ever stays the same. Especially women, you know, over the month, you go up and down, in and out of hormones. So fluid tension, water tension. When we're tired, we get, you know, water tension, and we can put on weight with hormones. So we just make it mean that we're not good enough in some way. What I teach is what's called subtractive psychology, which means I'm aiming to take stuff off of your mind. So by educating you about neuroscience and neuroplasticity, I help you to understand how these urges and how these cravings are formed and created by your lower brain, and why that's happening. And it's usually because we're in our head, or we feel low or anxious or stressed. So we're doing the habit out of kindness for ourselves. It doesn't feel like that because we then make it into a thing that we've got a problem with, okay? But actually it's coming from kindness because we want to feel better. We just then innocently think there's something wrong with us, and so the cycle continues. And that's why a lot of us feel like we're in Groundhog Day. Tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll start. So we have this list, this food plan, this exercise plan. We sign up for things, we'll buy things, we spend a lot of money on programs, and nothing works. And that's what you've got to ask yourself. Why is nothing working for me? Why has nothing worked up till now? And it's because there's a misunderstanding of how we create our experience moment to moment. And that is what I teach. Now, I have a free group, if you're not in it, for women only, called She Finds Freedom from Habits, Anxiety and Self-Loathing. So please come into there. That's where people are asking the questions. I have a membership group where I talk about this all the time and have guest interviews and group coaching, but where I'll be digging deep into this understanding and providing a kind of membership portal for people to find freedom from anxiety and habits. It's an 8-week program I'm starting very soon, hopefully at the end of this month, beginning of Feb. If you'd like to know more about that, or you'd like to talk to me about that, or anything in what I've said has resonated, even a tiny bit, then please get in touch, because I know that you can find freedom from comfort eating. And that was essentially what the question was about, because it's much simpler than you think. And there isn't anything that you need to do other than understand how our experience is created, and to know, and I know this from the bottom of my heart,